Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. Another card and video using some of the new Simon Says Stamp Shine On release, June 2026 release, along with some oldie but goodie favorites. I made up for my previous, it'll be my previous video when this one goes up. I made up for my previous clean and simple card and did 5 different types of splatter on this one. Told y'all, I always make up for it, and then I go overboard. Anyway, everything I used is listed and linked in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. It's what helps, keeps lights on, pays the bills, enables me to keep bringing out content. And yeah, let's get into making this card. So I'm using the Botanical Buds stamp set. It's so cute. It's so cute. I love cutesy. I love cutesy. Always have, always will. And there's so much to choose from. This set just jumped out at me, and I don't know. I was like, I need to use this ASAP. So I've got some Neenah Classic Crest 110-pound solar white cardstock, and I am inking up the images with Rainbow Splash black ink. I have been finding, I've used this ink in many alcohol marker coloring videos. I like it. It very much reminds me of like the Memento Tuxedo black ink. Just putting that out there. I've used many black inks over the years, and there's a lot that are compatible with alcohol markers. Yeah, back on the Rainbow Splash one, it's been working for me. So I'd stamp the images. This first little bit, this is real time. This is not my editing sped up, because it's going to get sped up. But I try to include this in my videos, just to show that I do not move as quickly as the magic of video editing, is. But I speed it up because I just don't have a whole lot to say, and I don't want my videos to be insanely long. So yeah, now we're speeding up. So I'm using my OLO markers to color. I have an entire playlist with dozens and dozens of videos using these markers. I'll link to that playlist in the end screen at the end of the video. If you haven't seen my other videos using them, I do not connect them. They come with connectors. You can connect them to make them like a normal size marker for normal people. That's, with OLO you have options. I choose not to connect mine because I like to see all my colors at a glance, and that's just how I'm using them for now. I will eventually connect them, but for the last year or two, I forget how long it's been that I've been using them. I have to go back through my own playlist. Anyway, it just looks weird on camera. The way I'm holding them, all the things, it does look very, very odd. It doesn't bother me, literally. I have borderline carpal tunnel issues and things like that, but I've had no problem coloring like this. I'll probably actually struggle a little bit when I do eventually connect my markers into a proper sized, like full marker. But yeah, this just works for me. And like I said, it's all just it's a convenience thing. I need to be able to see all my colors at a glance, and this is what works. So I've got the lids on screen. The other, thing of note is when you're doing greenery, which with these little images, there's different types of greenery. When there's different types of greenery, use different greens or green combos. Just, you don't have to get super technical with it. You don't have to do crazy blending or anything. Just at the very least, use different greens. It totally adds to it. And in nature, obviously, there's a million shades of green, and it just breaks things up a little bit and makes everything look actually more cohesive than if you'd just done it all in one shade of green, So break up them greens, and then, yeah. Like I said, I had fun. I jump between all the different sorts of coloring mediums because that's just how I roll. None of them are wrong. None of them are right. Everything is just whatever appeals to you. I like coloring with alcohol markers. I love to watercolor. I love stenciling, ink blending over layering stencils. The more options, the better. I'm here for it. And then again, if you've watched a lot of my content, you also are aware that I have more than one brand of alcohol markers, and they're all great. They're all great. I jump between them two just because I'm me, you know? And I like having options. I like having options. So I worked my way through all of these, and then my final like touch was my white gel pen, my Jelly Roll 10 gel pen, and just adding little dots and highlights just wherever I thought they would look cute. I've talked about this before as well. I don't really follow a light source when I'm adding highlights, things like that. You should. It does make things even more, a little more cohesive, but I'm flying by the seat of my pants. And quite often, when I'm coloring, I'm not really thinking exactly like what my layout's going to be and where the light source would technically be. And yeah, so I only say all that because I do get asked a lot about where to place the white gel pen highlights and things, and I just stick them wherever, just wherever. So after I'd done it, I die cut them with coordinating wafer dies and set them aside for part of my background. I pulled out the Pepita background stamp. I've used this in a bunch of videos. I was obsessed with it some time ago and then hadn't used it in a while. Kind of forgot about it amongst all my options. And then I was digging through some things and I was like, oh, this background, yes, must use, love. So I put it face up on my desk. I just have some white cardstock here. I'd used my anti-static powder tool on the cardstock. I inked up the stamp with clear embossing ink and then pressed the cardstock into it. And I didn't press evenly. I didn't want it to be even. I even, as you can see here, am going over it with my fingers before melting it to remove some of the embossing powder. So it's going to be a little messy, a little not pristine perfect. I didn't want perfection. I wanted texture and just that little bit of pattern. So then melted it with my heat tool, which kind of looks like nothing other than the actual melting, which is always fun. I don't know, why do we love melting embossing powder so much? I don't know. It will never not be magical to me, and I've been doing this over 20 years now. Anyway, when it was melted, it will now resist what I place over it, specifically ink. So to bring the pattern to fruition so you can actually see it, I'm just going to blend some Pawsitively Saturated inks over this. And same with this. I am not doing this evenly or trying for anything smooth. These inks do smooth out quite a bit as they dry. However, I am not even trying for like a nice blend. I just want the color on there because I'm planning on adding splatter and other elements and just all the things. Plus, I kind of like that bit of the mess I'm creating with this blend, like the bits of texture here and there. Yeah, have fun with it. Have fun with it. So I used those three colors, which were flax, sprout, and rhubarb. And then I trimmed this down a little bit to fit on my A2 card front, which 4¼ by 5½ inches. And then for another little element, I die cut a piece of cardstock with one of the A7 Arches wafer dies. And then I ran that through with the Dotty contour embossing folder. So it's got the shape and then it's got some texture. And to make the texture show up a little bit better, I took white pigment ink and just went direct to paper you don't press really hard. You just lightly, move the ink pad and it picks up all of that embossed raised area and brings the pattern out a bit. So got that. And then I'm going to tear my cardstock. Speaking of doing this for over 20 years, this back in the day was one of the main things we did. Before we had wafer dies, literally, before we had wafer dies for card making, we had a paper cutter, a craft knife if you were skilled at that, which I never wasn't my thing, and your fingers, basically. So we tore everything, because how else were you going to add texture? And every once in a while I remember about that and I was like, I like that. It just gives something extra. So tore the edge, adhered that panel to my card front, adhered the little element. And then for this portion that's going to frame my little main images, I had die cut white cardstock with one of the A2 Arches wafer dies, which I've used these many times. I don't know. There's something about a good arch shape, It just works, and I like it. So I die cut it, and then added the sprout and flax inks to that. And then I had die cut some Neenah Desert Storm cardstock using one of the Scalloped Arches frames wafer dies. And I'm die cut or gluing those together just to give it a little extra depth. And then I'd taken another, just a scrap of cardstock, and I'd like hand cut it, literally, just slightly larger than that white arch. This just gives me a little bit of that teeny little bit of a border so I can adhere that scallop frame, because there is no, what's the easiest way to explain it? There's no shape that fits direct like under the scallop frame. Does that make sense? Like it just nestles inside it, and I wanted this all popped up. So that's what I did. So glued those together. So I've got this little arch with its little scallop frame. And I'm going to put some Big Momma foam tape on the back of this to adhere to my card. And before I do that, I added some baker's twine as well, which was thwarting me for a little bit there. So wrap that around my card front, reverse tweezers to hold that in place so I can fiddle with my bow, get it the way I want it. Once I'm happy with it, I can pull it tight, remove the tweezers, pull it tight again, do my little bit of zhuzhing, and then trim off the tails. And then I can adhere that little scalloped arch frame to my card front with some Big Momma foam tape. So it'll give it a little bit of dimension without creating like a ton of bulk. And then splatter. I told you, I can do no splatter sometimes. You know, sometimes it's great. It's personal preference. Some people don't like it. That's okay. If we all like the same things, it'd be really boring. You don't need to leave rude comments though about the splatter. Like, it's okay. Thankfully, no one's being forced to do it. Anywho, I used Distress Spritz for my splatter, and I had shaken these up before I started filming, like really well, because that pigment settles to the bottom, like the pretty shimmer settles to the bottom of these bottles. I only leave them laying out like that when I'm working with them. Any liquid product like this, I store upright. I do not store it on its side. It ain't worth risking them leaking. And then with anything that has a pigment or a shimmer element to it, it just needs to be shaken up really, really well before I use it. So that's what I did. And I used squeezed lemonade, twisted citron, and worn lipstick. Shook them up, and then I just take the nozzle out and either splatter directly with that, which is what I did here, or I'll like dip a brush in it and splatter with it that way. You can also just spray it. I like doing the splatter thing. And then for the other two splatters, Positively Perfect white splatter and Positively Perfect black splatter. The white, a little heavier handed with that one. The black, for me, this is very demure. Just a smidge of black splatter, not a ton. Those need to be stirred up. I don't, with the Simon Says Stamp Positively splatters, like those containers, I don't recommend shaking those ones. The pigment settles to the bottom with those as well. I do not recommend shaking them. I stir those ones. Shaken, not stirred for the spritz. Stirred, not shaken for the Positively Perfect splatters. I got all kinds of little rules, but I hope when I explain the reasons why. So with those containers, it just shaking them, it makes a mess because the liquid starts getting up into the threads of the lid and it gets everywhere. That's why I do what I do. So anywho, on the inside of the card, I stamped one of the sentiments from that little Botanical bud set with Nocturne ink, and then I adhered my one little character on the inside. Because when I originally colored these things, I didn't really have a color like combo for my finished card in mind, and the little sort of purpley flower didn't really go with the ending result, as you can see. But I wasn't gonna get rid of him, so he went on the inside just to be cute, you know, and they make me happy. So I had also stamped a couple of the sentiments from the set onto that same cardstock. This was Concord 9th Honeysuckle? Yes, Concord 9th Honeysuckle. So I stamped them, die cut scraps to adhere below and give them a bit of dimension. And then my final little embellishment were these little Trinity Stamps chinois green heart baubles, and glue those into place with liquid glue. And this card is complete. So we got these cute little guys and punny little sentiments, which I love my puns. We've got texture and splatter and just everything. Everything but the kitchen sink. and it was fun. So like I mentioned in the intro, links to all the things are in the description box below the video. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me, for thumbs upping and commenting. It is appreciated. It does help a ton. And I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!